Welcome to our fourth lecture, that is on Human Anatomy and Physiology 1. The topic of today's lecture is the general principles of cell communication via intracellular signaling pathway activation by extracellular signal molecule generation. So, let us start our today's lecture. Before going in detail, we have to understand what does the extracellular signaling molecules will do. So, extracellular, the word it clearly depicts the extra means above the cells, intracellular inside the cell. Okay, students. So, extracellular signaling molecules, these are critical regulators of physiology and the development of various cellular mechanism inside the living organization. Okay. So, there are many different types of signals which are generated, produced inside our body, and these different signals includes sometimes the peptide moieties, some of the small lipophilic molecules, sometimes it may include the hydrophilic molecules and others like involvement of various gases which are present inside the living system. So, binding of these extracellular signaling molecules towards the cell surface receptors, these receptors, are you knowing about what does this receptor means? Receptor means, students, these are basically the protein, chemically receptors are protein or enzymes in nature. Receptors to receive, what they will receive? They will receive the ligand. It may be sometimes the agonist moiety or sometimes the antagonist moieties of the components. So, ligand to ligare, ligare is the Latin term which means to bind the drug, some food particles, some protein peptides, some enzymes which can bind with that receptor molecules, and this will cause the change in their configuration, and due to this change in their structure, receptor structure change, this triggers or stimulates or we can say activates the intracellular pathways inside the cell via ultimately modulate or altered the various cellular physiological pathways, like it will start the cellular metabolism sometimes, change or alter the cell functions, or it is also involved for the cell development and the growth of the each and individual cells. Now, coming to the various signaling pathways. In case of animals, if we are talking about signaling pathways by extracellular, it will secrete various molecules which can be classified into three different classes, that is endocrine signaling pathways, paracrine signaling pathways, and the third one is the autocrine signaling mechanism. Okay. So, based on the distance, how these three classification, this is according to the distance over which the signals act. Okay. The signals will release, it will go through the systemic circulation, blood circulation towards their destination site, towards their receptor, target or the effector organ, and there they can show their change in physiological function. So, this is the classification of various signaling pathways is according to the distance over which the signals are acting. So, let us discuss one by one. First one, the endocrine signaling pathway. In endocrine signaling, the term here itself indicates here is the involvement of various endocrine release hormones. So, this is the signaling molecules named hormones. They act on the target cells which are distant, means far apart from their release, okay, distant from their site of synthesis by various cells of endocrine organs. So, we can take a best example to explain you here the endocrine signaling pathway. I hope in our first lecture we will discuss about the positive feedback mechanism when there is the signal or stimulus is generated and it gives message to the central control unit, which is the posterior lobe of pituitary in the CNS, that is beneath the brain, and it will give rise to the production of endocrine hormone, which is posterior lobe secretes what students? Oxytocics like agents. So, it will synthesize more and more and release more and more oxytocin. So, the synthesis site is the CNS, okay, the posterior lobe of pituitary, or we can say the pituitary gland, while the oxytocin now released through the systemic or the blood circulation, and it goes to the target site of action. So, oxytocin here acting as the ligand moiety, and it goes to the receptor agents which can receive this oxytocin through the systemic blood circulation, and which is the what students, you already know about this. This is the uterus. So, oxytocin acting on the uterus lining and induces the labor pains, so that the neonatals can be easily delivered. Okay. We already studied this in the positive feedback mechanism to maintain the homeostasis. Students, you can remember or recall or revise the previous lectures too. Okay. So, this is the endocrine signaling pathway. The endocrine hormone here, oxytocin release, and it goes through the systemic circulation to the target site of action, which is the uterus. There they get receptors, exact receptors. The ligand moieties now bind with the receptors and give the physiological function, which is the labor pains or the contraction of uterine muscle wall. Now, coming to the second signaling pathway, that is the paracrine signaling mechanism. This signaling molecules here released by a cell only affect the target cell which are in close proximity to it. Okay. In paracrine, students remember, the cells nearby healthy host cells, one cell can release the signaling molecule, and the release molecule can only be act and reach towards the nearby close proximity cells. So, not very much long distance, and there is no involvement of blood circulation here too. Okay. So, nearby cells, if the signals can pass for change in physiological functions, so termed as paracrine signaling mechanism. Now, coming to the third signaling pathway, that is the autocrine signaling. Here we can say the cells respond or release the substances that they themselves release. Okay. So, as the name itself states that auto means self, autocrine, the single cell can release, synthesize and release the endogenous release mediator, and these mediators which is acting as stimulus will act sometimes the cell surface receptor of the own cell which releases this, or sometimes the receptors which are located in intracellularly, and this is termed as autocrine signaling mechanism. The example here we can say or quote an example of interleukins. So, this is the cytokines students produced by the blood cells, mainly by the monocytes, and the monocyte, the single cell generates, synthesize and produce the interleukin moieties, and this is the interleukin. You will heard this terminology about in relation with the inflammatory mediators when you read the inflammation processes, and it is required for the healthy immune system maintenance. So, we can say the monocytes itself synthesize and release the interleukins, and this released interleukin will act to the monocytes, the own cells only. So, this is the autocrine signaling pathway. Now, a combination of small and large intracellular signaling molecules relay the signal and carried out the required physiological change to the cells, to the organs, to the organ systems, organization level. The small intracellular signaling molecules known as the small intracellular mediators, or we can say it as the second messenger pathway system or the transduction pathway system, which can activate or can modulate the changes via the activation of CAMP. So, what is small c capital AMP students here? Small c stands for cyclic adenosine monophosphate, and also there is sometimes release of calcium ions through the cytosol. So, there is more and more cytosolic calcium is present, and we all know the calcium ion is responsible for the contraction of various smooth muscle cells, skeletal muscle cells. So, via modulation of these pathways, the small intracellular signaling molecules can work. So, cyclic AMP, it is non-specific in nature, it can act towards any of the cell and can generate a variety of physiological response inside the cell. Now, calcium ions, this calcium ions effects includes the exocytosis. Exo means out of the cell. The substances, or we can say the various ions or nutrient media which can goes out of the cell via this secretory vesicles, secretions हो जाएगा उनको, and various muscular contractions via use of this cytosolic calcium, or the inducement of mitosis in the fertilized egg. This is very much important function of the cytosolic calcium, which is released by the intracellular signaling pathway mechanism. Many intracellular signaling molecules functions as a molecular switches. Switches means when it is required, it will switch on the signaling pathway. When it is not in use, it will switch off the functioning of these signaling molecules. Like we can discuss in detail, one is the G protein. G stands here for guanosine. G protein is activating or stimulating its response by GTPase switch protein moiety. So, GTPase students, guanosine triphosphatase, ase suffix means if the ase, it will denotes the enzyme or the protein. The chemical nature of the moiety is enzymes in nature. So, it switch on the protein. So, what it will do? It will start the signal production, and this signal results in the release of GTP to GDP, guanosine diphosphate, and after the binding of the abundant GTP protein present intracellularly, it will bind with the guanosine triphosphate moieties. After a short period of time, we can say the acute duration, short duration of time, this GTP, abundant GTP moiety gets hydrolyzed with the presence of water and other fluids. It can break down, the guanosine triphosphate get hydrolyzed and come back to their off state. Okay. So, this way the G protein, or we can say the G protein coupled receptor moieties will function. Now, coming to the second pathway, that is protein kinase. Here you will see in the word also, it is denoted as capital PKase. ASE in small denotes, the A suffix denotes students the enzyme. The basic chemical nature of this protein kinase moiety is enzymatic in nature. So, they add phosphate group to get activated. Phosphorylation is must necessary to get it activation to themselves, and also by some involvement of other proteins at either serine or threonine or at the tyrosine residue moieties. So, you will see these are examples of various amino acids. So, from these three, serine and tyrosine are students non-essential amino acids, while threonine is considered to be as the essential amino acids. Essential means it will come, or we can take it from the diet, while non-essential, it is synthesized in the body only. Their activity can be regulated by the second messenger pathway system that we will just discuss, that is through the GPCR or via IP3 phosphokinase, phospholipase C moieties, or by the production of adenylyl cyclase pathway. This will induce or generate the IP3 DAG mechanism to get change in the physiological phenomena. their activity can be regulated by the release and generation of second messenger pathway system, and these release second messengers get interacted with other proteins or it can itself phosphorylated. Okay. So, come at this diagram students. In the left hand side you will see the blue one is the GDP, guanosine diphosphate moiety, and the red is the guanosine triphosphate moiety. When the GDP gets bind with the RAS system, it is the nucleoside protein binding system. The GDP gets closely bind. It will cause the protein or peptide moiety inactive. Okay. While the GTP, that is guanosine triphosphate, which is the active part, when it bind with the nucleoside binding protein, that is RAS, it can start its activation, and when its work is finished over, it will dephosphorylate. The GTP moiety releases one of its phosphate group, that is PI, and it becomes GDP, guanosine triphosphate, converted to guanosine diphosphate moiety, and causes the molecular switch off of the mechanism. Now, coming to the right hand side diagram, this is the working or the functioning of protein kinases. So, this is the molecular pathway. The protein kinases activates the involvement of energy via ATP, adenosine triphosphate moiety, and it dephosphorylate and makes adenosine diphosphate. This adenosine diphosphate now bind with the molecule or the protein or the peptide moiety, and here phosphorylation occurs. So, this will become inactive, and after protein phosphatase involvement, this protein kinase activates the molecules for the signaling pathway, intracellular signaling molecule generation. So, coming to the various modes of cell communication. How one cell communicate or interact with the nearby host cells. Cells typically communicate using various chemical signals. These chemical signals, which are protein in nature, sometimes these are some bigger molecules which are produced by the sending cells, are often secreted from the cell only and released into the extracellular space. So, in the extracellular space, these signaling molecules, sometimes these are peptides or sometimes ions, they can float like some messages which are floating inside the bottle over to the neighboring cell. So, let us understand with this diagram. The first one you will see, this is the sending cell which send the impulse or the message which can communicate towards the nearby cells. So, it can make a vacuole like innervated structure, the curved structure you will see in the sending cell, and this releases the impulse or the messages, substances which can communicate to the target cell. So, these moieties, the release moieties here acting as the ligand moieties. Ligand means to ligare, to bind. Where it does bind? It binds to the receptor. So, receptor means to receive. What receptors will receive? They will receive the released messages or the impulses with this curved site. So, receptors students are of two types. If it is present or located at the surface of the cell, it is known as epitopes. Sometimes you will also see the receptors are present in the center inside the cell moieties. Okay. So, here you will see in the diagram the receptors are located at the cell surface. Okay. This ligand moieties now bind with this receptor moiety, and this ligand goes inside the target cell, and there is change in some physiological phenomena, and which will finally leads to the desired response in the target cell. Okay. The desired response only be achieved when the ligand moiety bind with the receptor moiety. If there is change in shape or the ligand moiety is not attracted towards the receptor moiety, it will not bind. So, or we can say this is the target cell. Sometimes the ligand moieties reaches to the non-target cells where there is no receptor moieties are present at the cell surface. So, there is no receptor sites for the binding of the ligand moiety. Here you will see there is no change in the physiological phenomena occurs. It means no response you will see in this nearby neighboring cell. Only the cell will show the response having the receptor moieties in their cell surface. So, in order to detect a signal, that is to be target cell, a neighbor cell must have the right receptors present to perceive, to receive that signals. Signals is the input message. Okay. So, when a signaling molecule binds to its receptor, it alters or it will cause a change in the configuration, change in their shape and activity of the receptors, which finally triggers a change inside the cell. Now, this signaling molecule are often called as the ligand. Ligand means to ligare, to bind with the receptor moiety. Ligand is a general term for the molecules that bind specifically to the sending molecules, to the ligand molecules, okay, such as here the molecules named here is as receptor moieties. So, see the diagram, ligand is easily bind with the receptor moiety, it change its configuration, it will lock and key fit model, it will cause and it will tightly bind with the receptor moieties, goes inside the cell and it will change some physiological phenomena, okay, and the response in the target cell is clearly observed phenotypically. The chemical messengers relay the signal in this diagram. Now, coming to paracrine signaling pathway or the mechanism we can say, here the cells that are near to one and another, they can communicate through the release of various chemical release mediators, chemical messengers, which are basically ligand moieties, and this can diffuse through the space between the cells, not inside the cells, okay students, in between the neighboring nearby cells towards the signal can be transmitted. Okay. This type of signaling in which the cells communicate over relatively short distance nearby, that is why it is saying nearby cells only in the paracrine signaling mechanism. So, it is the paracrine signaling. Come to this diagram, this is the one cell which sends signals to the nearby next cells. These are cells targets at nearby cells. So, this is the target cell, they are having the receptor moieties which is must if it is exact specific target cell. So, there is receptor moieties which bind with this signaling molecules and show the response change in their physiological phenomena. Now, coming to the autocrine signaling pathway, in autocrine signaling the cell signals to itself, auto means self signaling, and it releases a ligand that binds to the receptors, and these receptors are located on its own cell surface. So, termed as epitopes, or sometimes the receptors are located inside the cell moieties, or depending on the type of different signals, different type of receptors bind with these ligand moieties which is present inside the cell. This may seems like an odd thing for a specific individual cells to do, but autocrine signaling plays a very important role in many processes. So, see the diagram students, this is the autocrine signaling pathway, the cell targets itself only, that is autocrine. Okay. So, it releases the signaling molecule students, the red circle one, and this signaling release molecule again hit and target its own cell, okay, receptor, and show the change in the response. Now, coming to the third one, that is the endocrine signaling, this required when the cells need to transmit its signals, that is the input information, through a long distance. Okay, students, just opposite to that of paracrine. Paracrine nearby cells. Okay, auto means just its own cell, while in case of endocrine signaling, the signal can be transmitted via a long distance through the. So, here there is an involvement of systemic circulation, or we can say the blood circulation. They often use the circulatory system as a distribution network for the messages to be sent. In the long distance endocrine signaling pathway, the signals are produced by the specialized cell, and these signals can be released through the bloodstream, and this blood can carries them to the target site of action, or we can say the destination site, in the which are located at the distant part of our body. Signals that are produced in one part of the body and travel through the blood circulation to reach far away targets are known as hormones here. So, this signaling mechanism is termed as endocrine signaling pathway. Okay, students. So, see this cell, this will generate the signaling cell. This cell is considered as signaling cells because it will generate and send the signals through the systemic or the circulatory pathway, blood circulation ke through, and this is the target cell, which is sometimes apart, located apart, farthest from the signaling cell. Okay, and through the blood circulation, the signaling impulse can hit the target cell, and there it will produce the required response. Now, coming to the signaling through cell-cell contact, it will consider the gap junction in animals, and if we are talking about the plant cell, the term here is plasmodesmata. These are the tiny small channels that directly connect to the neighboring cell, and these are water filled channels which allow small signaling molecules inside the intracellular mediators to diffuse between the two different cells. Small molecules like calcium are able to move between the cells, but some of the large molecules like proteins, peptides and DNA, these are complex moieties, they cannot fit through the channels, this water channel, without the spatial assistance. They need some help, some carrier proteins, or sometimes they need ATP for energy of transfer of one cell to the another cell. So, signaling across the gap junction, this is the signaling cell, a target cell is connected by a gap junction. You will see a small channels are there. So, from this water channels, the target cell can receive the message signals from the donor cell. Now, coming to the synaptic signaling. This is a unique example of paracrine signaling and named synaptic signaling, in which you will see there is an involvement of nerve cell, which is help to transmit the signals. If you remember, you already studied about the neurohumoral transmission, students. Here, this is the preganglionic nerve ending, and the second one is the post ganglia, okay, ganglionic nerve ending. Inside this, you will have synapse or synaptic cleft. This is considered as sending cell, the uppermost, and this releases the neurotransmitters through this synapse. Okay. The post ganglia having the receptor sites which receives these ligand neurotransmitter moieties and attached to the receptors, and this neurotransmitters goes inside this receiving cells and showing their physiological change. The process is named for the synapse, synaptic signaling, okay, because there is an involvement of synaptic cleft or just synapse. The junction, synapse is the junction between the two nerve cells where the signal transmission occurs. When the sending neuron fires, it will trigger the release of various neurotransmitters. An electrical impulse generates, and this electrical impulse moved rapidly through the cells and traveling down the long fiber like extension which is known as axons. Okay. So, when the impulse reaches the synapse, synaptic cleft, it triggers the release of ligands which is known as various neurotransmitters, which quickly cross the signal gap, small gap between the nerve cells. When the neurotransmitters arrives the receiving cell, they bind to the receptors and causes a chemical change inside the cell, which is often sometimes opening and closing of various ion channels and changing the electrical potential across the cell membrane. These neurotransmitters, which are released from the preganglionic nerve ending to the chemical synapse, are quickly sometimes degraded, or sometimes it can be taken up back by the sending cells, that is preganglia nerve ending, and this resets the system so that the synapse is prepared itself to respond quickly for the next signal. So, this is all about today's lecture. See you in our next lecture. Till then, bye bye.